I'm sitting here with a linguist. I had no idea. I didn't know you were, but I didn't know that you were a wordsmith.
Call Jiggy right now. 267-22-JIGGY.
Hey Jiggy, what's happening, man? Reminds me of that David Bowie song. Jiggy play guitar. It's a great name, man. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Presenting.
I'm Mike Massey, and you can catch me on Jiggy Jag TV and see a few of my trick shots there. Thank you very much.
Jiggy Jaguar.
I never knew what freedom was until I saw you lose yours.
Well. It is the next edition of the world famous Jiggy Jaguar Radio broadcast. We are live coast to coast on our iHeartRadio today. Trying to get it out. AM/FM 247.com. Tune in, iTunes, and of course you can find us on TalkShoe. We're also available on Spotify as well. I gotta hang my damn deal back up so I can actually know where the hell we are. Thanks for tuning into the big broadcast. We are live, coast to coast, border to border on iHeartRadio and, of course, KJAG Radio Studios in downtown Kansas. 2 Central, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard, and live on our stream at JIGGYJGYR.com. Coast to coast and border to border on-demand podcasts on iHeartRadio. And you can find us 50-plus AM/FM stations across the big network, AM/FM247.com. And the Jiggy Jaguar Radio broadcast is live as live can get. So we are going to go to Josh Malone, who is going to join us here on the telephone here in just a few moments. If you want to get a hold of us at our website, jiggyjaguar.com, you can also see what we are up to. We have videos. We have all sorts of things happening over there at jiggyjaguar.com.
This is Josh.
I believe we've got Josh Malone with us. Josh, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good, actually. Welcome to the big program. Thanks for joining us today here on our big program. And you have got a tremendous story. Tell us a little bit about your story, and we'll talk a little bit about you today here on the program.
Sure. Well, I guess I'm an inventor. I'll start with that.
Okay.
And classic tale of the struggling inventor to make ends meet, kind of chasing my harebrained ideas in the garage and spending all my family's retirement fund and my kids' college fund. And I was heading down that path, and I came up with an invention that everyone needed. It's called Bunch of Balloons, and I figured out how to fill and seal 100 water balloons in 1 minute.
That's fantastic. That is amazing. So, you've invented this. Talk to us a little bit about the patent process and what you've had to deal with on that end of things, because you've had to deal with all sorts of nonsense.
That's right. I was really shocked. It's a pretty horrifying tale. Not sure how much of it we can get into, but the American dream really motivated me. I mean, I quit a salary job as an engineer at a high-tech company, and risked my family's future, and it was really motivated by this idea, this vision that if I came up with something no one else ever thought of before, I could own the rights to it. I could bring it to market. I could start a business. And so I was very oriented towards creating things that had never been done before and solving problems. And so that was, that's what the patent system is for. And our founders set it up to where, anyone, it was very unique actually. And I'm appreciating this more and more now. Before in Europe and especially in England, patents were only for the wealthy, the aristocrats, right?
Yes.
Yes. And we said, no, we want a democratic patent system. Anyone from any walk of life, from any level of society can invent something new and own the rights to it through a patent. And so that moved me along. And so I filed for a patent when I solved this problem, and I put it on Kickstarter. So great resource for new product, to launch new product. and crowdfunding. And but the thing is, I didn't appreciate at the time, is that these large corporations are sitting back watching those projects, and they're, most of them fail, but they're sitting there like vultures. The ones that succeed, they're like, well, thank you very much. We'll make a copy of this.
Yes.
So they do none of the investment, none of the risk, and so someone was watching, and when my projects took off and raised almost $1 million from 21,000 supporters, I was like, hey, this is working. I was like, this system's working, and I can actually have my product in the stores and build a business. And these guys said, no, thank you very much. We'll take it.
Wow.
And so that's where it I wasn't surprised that imitation came along. But this wasn't a Chinese knockoff on eBay. This was a multi-billion or $1 billion American company that took it, copied it, and put it on TV, put it in all the major retailers. They basically were going to just pound me and drive me out of business. And that was the future. And so they didn't care about the patent. That's the answer to your question. I had a patent, and these corporations don't care about your patent.
Absolutely incredible. It is Josh Malone. He joins us today here on AMFM247.com, and you can join us each and every week at AMFM247.com. Josh Malone is our guest today. We're talking about Josh Malone versus the Patent Assassins. It sounds like it sounds like a great movie, but in reality, it is not. Bunch O' Balloons creator Josh Malone is with us today. He joins us live here in our broadcast, and this amazing story. What has been some feedback you've gotten on radio programs, TV programs that you've went on about all this?
Well, people are surprised.
Yeah,
and the thought is that these are isolated incidents, and what surprised me and other inventors and entrepreneurs that are coming up under the recent changes, and I'd say flat out corruption of our legal system, is this is normal. So this is business as usual. And you talk about high tech and Silicon Valley corporations and their market abuses, and this is part of it. They're like, hey, we don't have to follow the law. The rules don't apply to us. And so the fact that it's just normal business is to say, hey, there's a successful product. We should put that in our product line, and there's nothing that the inventor can do about it, and it's good for our bottom line. It's corporate, corporatism run amok, and there's just, the rules don't apply to the big guys. Can I tell you how they got?
Yes.
How they got here?
Yes. Give me all the details, my friend. I cannot wait to hear this.
So it's a lot of it came out of big tech, and they found, they were successful based on innovation, most of them 20 years ago. Well, it's the same guys. Usually there's a disruptor that comes along. Well, they figured out they could go to Congress, and they passed a law in 2011 called the America Invents Act. And it's like a lot of these bills, they do the opposite of what they say. And so in that bill, they created an administrative tribunal in the patent office, and their job is to invalidate patents. And so it's crazy, because normally the patent office is supposed to protect inventors. Well,
yes,
over the last 8 years, they've got this it's a cabal of bureaucrats, and if you don't like a patent, you just go and pay them a fee, and you say, there's an error in this patent, you should revoke it. And 84% of the time, they've reviewed 3,000 patents, and they've invalidated 84% of them in this brand new proceeding. And so that's what these guys did. So usually when you're accused of infringing a patent, you're allowed to raise a defense. You hire attorneys, you go to court, and you say, well, we developed a different technology, and so we're not in violation of the patent. And that wasn't their strategy here, because we had them dead to rights. They absolutely stole it and copied it. So Plan B is to say, well, the patent's invalid, it was a mistake, and so we're not guilty. And so they make all sorts of arguments, dozens of arguments. And one of the ones that bubbled to the top was Josh's patent is invalid because no one knows when a balloon is substantially filled with water. And his patent says the balloon falls off when it's substantially filled with water. Well,
that
we
is
don't know when
amazing.
that is, so we're not guilty.
That is amazing.
And I'm telling you, and so you can understand, common sense tells you that that's a frivolous argument.
Yes,
but if you think about it,
very much so.
if this is a high tech, if this is a complicated technology, they get away with these sorts of things. And so we went to court. We went for a federal judge. We went to appeals court. We went for a jury, and we wiped the floor with these guys. I was just one of the very
fortunate
individuals who could afford to fight. It was millions of dollars. But then they went back to the patent office in this new proceeding, and they agreed with them. These guys said, "You're right. Despite the examination and all the work the patent office did over the past few years, they were wrong, and they invalidated my patent." And that gave these guys freedom to proceed.
This is incredible. We have got a tremendous guest with us today. Joins us live here on our broadcast. So, you lost one of the patents. How exactly did you manage to beat these guys and get this patent restored, or did that happen?
I went to Washington. I mean, it was Mr. Smith goes to Washington. It was Mr. Malone goes to Washington because these guys are robbing me blind, and the legal system was completely wrecked.
Yeah.
So I went to Washington. I went to the patent office. At the time, the head of the patent office was the former head of patents for Google. And
wow.
She came in and just just opened up the barn doors and said, "Hey, Google, take whatever you want." So we got involved. I talked to people in Congress. We had a protest where this really got some attention. We burned our patents in front of the patent office.
Holy!
I was desperate. These guys were thinking everything.
Wow.
And so this is like, patent. This is quintessentially American, and so it just shocked people that it had gotten this bad. And for me, it was really out of desperation. But the answer to your question is the publicity that brought to my case and the abuse that was going on in the government and this big corporation teaming up to rob inventors. So it started drawing attention to this case, and the patent office is like, "We better get this guy's patents back." and so
that's fantastic.
It's sad, right? I hate that the state of America right now is you have to be super wealthy and you have to have political influence. And
yes,
I just miraculously stepped into that, and these guys finally started losing, and it was costing them tens of millions of dollars. And it worked. Every other time it worked for them.
Yeah.
After 5 years of this, they looked at their legal bills and they said, "We can't beat this guy," and so we surrender. so I got my patents back. I got my rights to my invention back, and they had to pay us. And but that doesn't work as a strategy. I mean, that's like winning the lottery to be able to beat these guys this game.
It is just amazing. We have got a tremendous guest with us today. Josh Malone joins us here on our big broadcast, talking a little bit about this incredible topic about patents and a bunch of balloons and all sorts of things that he's involved in. So there seems to be, at the end of this whole thing, you would think there'd be damages involved. Did you get anybody to pay you damages, or were you just screwed on that as well?
We came out pretty well. They had done this 3 times, 3 different products, And we got a jury in one case the first case was delayed because the patent office stabbed me in the back. The second case, the jury awarded us $12 million, and the judge doubled it, and then he tacked on some attorney's fees for their frivolous arguments. And so they owed us $31 million. And then they had a tough decision. They had to post a bond if they wanted to keep fighting, which I thought they would. I thought I'd still be in litigation today. And so at that point, they had to, that's when they calculated the cost. They said, all right, we'll pay this because we sure don't want to go to trial on the other two products, because then the damages will get even greater. So we actually settled. They had to pay that amount plus a little more, which we were able to pay our attorney's bills, and we were able to get a little bit of compensation for, basically they were selling product. Every sale they got was one that they took away from us. So, but I'll say I came out okay. I survived. I lived. Now I can, now I'm volunteering, giving back, trying to make the patent system fair for everyone. So I survived.
I'll tell you, you've got a hell of a story here, sir. This is just amazing that you were able to make this work and get all this figured out. It took a lot of time, and it took a lot of energy. So what do you think of the patent system in the United States? Because I see these ads on TV for all these companies, and all these people are like, get a patent and blah, blah, blah. And then I hear your situation and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be doing that.
Well, I thought I was sophisticated because I didn't fall for those scams.
Yeah.
And now I feel like such a schmuck because the whole thing is a scam. I mean, the attorneys that take your money, the patent office, that when they give you a patent, it's fraudulent. It says on it, it's like they'll take it back as soon as you try to use it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's unbelievable how shockingly corrupt. I mean, maybe we shouldn't be. I mean, maybe we should be more, maybe we should be smarter than that by now as Americans. But I don't think we thought that the patent system was, had become this degraded. And
well, years...
No,
Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So here's the answer. We still have this idea of inventing and entrepreneurship and starting businesses, and you can't take that out of us.
Yeah.
And so I'm now with the organization I volunteer with, U.S. Inventor. We just are advising, educating inventors like, yes, they're going to rip you off. So just plan on it. And so you can succeed. Just don't expect the government to honor its obligations.
Yeah.
And so, what would you do if you're an inventor in a third world country and you have a corrupt government and it runs off of relationships and bribery? What would you do? Well, we're scrappy. You would find a way. And so just go into eyes wide open. And you can still be an inventor. You can still innovate. You can still do your part. But don't be a sucker.
Well, years ago, which I at the time I should have done something to get. I should have done the patent, or I should have done something to get this done, and I didn't.
Are you an inventor?
I'm not an inventor. I'm not an inventor. My girlfriend, or as I like to refer to her, as the assistant, she created this thing years and years ago. We go to the porn awards, as I like to call it, the Adult Video News Awards every year in Vegas. And the first year that we went out there, I took all of my equipment. I took the heavy tripod, I took the banners, I took 25 million selfie sticks. We did all the stuff. And after her having to lug all this around the Hard Rock Hotel Casino, She said never again, and she came back and she invented this thing that I often refer to as the Brit stick because her name's Brittany. And basically what she did is she took a monopod and she got some brackets and some other things off Amazon, and she created this device, this thing that holds a tablet, a whole bunch of cell phones, the little tiny zoom cameras, all sorts of things. So I essentially could go live on Periscope, Facebook. I could have my prep for my interviews on my tablet. I could have the camera. She set up lights on there. We set up a shotgun mic. This thing is pretty damn cool looking, and we took it everywhere. We took it to Comic-Cons. We took it to we took it all over the damn place. And there would be oftentimes people, she would get confused at Comic-Cons. People would be like, what are you cosplaying as? And she's like, no, I'm not cosplaying as anyone. I've just got all these cameras and all this stuff on this stick. And I always told her, you should get a patent on this or do something with this because we could sell this or make money or whatever. And of course, she's making more money than God working in the wind power industry and in the position that she works in, and she's also just kind of a ditz, so she just never bothered to do this. And several years ago, I was at a Walmart and I seen that someone had basically created this exact same thing, but they made a smaller version for people to use with their cell phones. And I always, every time that comes out, every year during the holidays, I kick myself because that could have been us. But now that I've seen what you've gone through,
way ahead of her time.
Yes, and she is way ahead of her time on several things. In fact, at one point she gave up on this because I think she just couldn't figure out what to do. But she was going to make a drone out of popsicle sticks, and she was going to buy the little motors and all this, and she got it built, and it's hanging on the wall here in the studio, but she never got it finished. But she's always doing little things like that. So when I hear your story, I'm like, maybe it's good we didn't try to patent that damn Brit stick.
Yeah, she saved her a lot of grief. And,
yes.
And, honestly, the maker movement is the place to be. I mean, you just don't, I would just obsess over my technologies, and I would try to find the perfect solution and make it so you could go to mass market and, the Walmart version, right?
Yes.
You can sell for $9.99.
Yeah.
But that's a big investment, right? Why not just hack one together and move on to the next thing? I think that's a very noble and reasonable approach, rather than try to pursue this idea of intellectual property, which that just means it's the game of, they used to call patents back in the Edison, Tesla, Westinghouse battles, it was the game of kings. And we like to say, since 2011, the American Invents Act, it's now the game of gods. So
you are correct on that, sir. You are correct on that. Well, Josh, this has definitely been a tremendous interview. I enjoyed chatting with you, and I definitely want to do this again. I will be in touch with your PR people because I would love to have you on a couple more programs that I book guests for, and I think you would be excellent for those. Before we let you go, how do people get in touch with you on social media, websites, all these things?
Yeah, I'm, usinventor.org is the nonprofit.
Okay.
So definitely sign up, usinventor.org. I'm on LinkedIn as Josh Malone, and I'm Josh the Balloon Guy everywhere else.
That's awesome. Well, you have been fun. I definitely will be in touch. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, my friend.
Well, thank you for listening. Thanks for your interest.
Definitely. Have yourself a blessed day, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
There he goes, Josh Malone. We are going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we have got more coming up. On the other side, it is the big broadcast, coast to coast and border to border on AMFM247.com.